Being around the most creative people in the industry is where we wanted to be.
But what we love most of all is taking everything that we've learned over the last 14 years, whether it's fashion or photography or all of our wedding and event experience, and bringing it to you each and every week. Hi, I'm Stephanie Boye, and you are watching Notes from the Lightbox, where we give you the best wedding tips and advice delivered straight. Traditions are something that are part of every wedding ceremony. Some are a little passé at this point, and there are some new traditions making their way, or maybe we should say some old new traditions that are making their way back into wedding ceremonies.
Those are the best traditions, the reinvented ones.
This is Alisa Tongg. She is a storyteller and celebrant, and very well versed in all sorts of traditions that happen at a wedding ceremony. So tell us some fun ceremony traditions that people can incorporate into their weddings. Obviously, you probably think it's important to add these kind of things. I personally feel like it makes everybody feel like they're part of the ceremony, which is really beautiful. My husband would say, being a photographer, that all of these different unique little traditions or things that you do make for such a great photographic moment. So they're always fun to add.
Not only the couple, but reactions from your guests and being a part of something that's unexpected. Most people aren't expecting to touch somebody's rings.
They're not expecting to be part of it, quite frankly. You know what I mean? They're expecting to sit there and watch.
One of my favorite guest participation rituals, and this could work for a small wedding or a humongous wedding, is creating a circle of love. And this works very well for people who want to get married outdoors, where it's not, you got married in the Catholic Church, and there, when you get married in the church, there's an obvious place that the couple stands. You stand in front of the altar, right? But outside, if you get married in front of a beautiful lake or on a mountain or on a farm, there's not that iconic spot that you know you're going to be in. So to create that sense of moment, I like to pitch to my couples the circle of love. And so the way that the circle of love works is as guests arrive, before the ceremony even starts, they're invited to come and contribute a flower or a small branch, a frond, to create the circle that the couple actually stands in during the ceremony, and that's a circle of love.
Beautiful.
I love it. And I once had a couple who had met as high schoolers and had 4 years of a long distance relationship, and their parents were amazing in the amount of support, driving them 3 hours back and forth every weekend to see each other. And so for their circle of love, instead of flowers, people put down handfuls of quarters, because that was a reminder in their love story that he would call her all the time from the dorm hallway payphone. This was before cell phones, and all they would ever ask from their families were for prepaid calling cards. Oh my God. Everyone made their circle of love out of quarters, and it was amazing. Yeah.
I loved making your wedding ceremony unique. That's what makes it fun. It makes it fun for the guests. It makes it fun for the photographers. It makes it fun for the people whose wedding it is. You know, it's such a beautiful way of bringing everyone together.
One of my favorites to suggest to any couple who's getting married, who's going to have less than 150 guests, is a ring blessing or a ring warming. It is this, whenever I describe it to people, they're like, oh, we want to have that at our wedding. We want to have that feeling. So in a ring blessing, I tie the couple's rings together with normally a beautiful piece of ribbon. And towards the beginning of the ceremony, I'll talk about what rings mean, what they symbolize, why we wear them. And then I say, today the couple would like to expand the meaning of what their rings will mean to them. They'd like to invite everyone here to bless their rings for them. And
so beautiful.
Then we start to pass the rings through the crowd. They make their way through everybody who's there as the ceremony continues. And that's a great tradition because it invites people to express their wishes for you, their best intentions, their love in a private way. And
so they're not saying it out loud.
It's a silent moment.
They're holding it and they're putting their blessing on it.
And they pass it to the next person. So
beautiful.
It really invites people to feel like they're a part of it.
Right.
And that they're given the opportunity to share something with you. Not everyone's well versed enough to stand up and give a toast at your reception, but everyone has something, who's come to your wedding, that they want to share with you.
Something they can
expression.
impart to you.
Yeah, and they feel like they've been able to do that in a ring blessing. So that's one of my favorites.
I saw something on your website about logs. There's a log.
Yeah, the Bavarian or German tradition, sawing a log for cooperation. And this is one of my favorites. It's always the funnest couples choose this one. So in this one, the couple is pronounced, married, it's official, and their first act together as a married couple is sawing a log in half.
So this is after the ceremony, everything's taken place.
It's when we've done it, we do it right there in the ceremony spot. So they kiss, they're pronounced, and then I introduce
Bring in the log.
Yep, bring in the log. So then I introduce what we're doing and how it's a tradition to show how a couple is committing to overcome life's obstacles together as a team through cooperation. And that's been great because you could just see how, even if it's the same ritual, it's approached in so many different ways by the couple, how they solve their problems.
In South Africa, parents of the bride and groom bring a log of fire from their hearth at their home to the home of the newlywed couple, which I think is really beautiful. Just that whole idea of the warmth and family that's around a hearth and bringing that to the new couple. So
love
you can
that.
add that too. Obviously, it's not going to be on the day of your ceremony.
That reminds me of a tree planting that I did this past year, and the couple, as they were planting, adding the soil to the potted tree that they were planting during their ceremony, they included mixed soil from their childhood homes.
Oh, that is beautiful.
Yeah, and that was it was similar in saying that where we came in our homes that we grew up in are part of this foundation that
we're
growing our relationship in.
Okay, so you would think, being Irish, that I would know about hand fasting, but I didn't. So please tell me about that. I think this is so beautiful.
I love hand fasting. So when a couple chooses to include a hand fasting in their ceremony, let's just demonstrate it. I'll ask them to hold hands, but to link their arms like it's an infinity. So just show that to the camera. See, it shows the figure 8. And so as they're holding their hands here, I'll talk about how this commitment is one that's a lasting one, like
the figure 8
this is
infinity
symbolic.
symbol.
And then for a hand fasting, you take either a beautiful garland or greens or a tartan plaid of your family that's symbolic of your family tree. And it's wrapped around your hands here, and it's tied. So that's tying the knot, bonds of matrimony. And it's traditional when the hand fasting is done that somebody read a blessing for you and your marriage at that time. So I love it.
So it doesn't matter. It's Celtic in origin, but anybody can use the hand fasting. It's just the symbolism of coming together that really is the most important part of the hand fast.
Yeah. Another Celtic tradition that I love to include in my ceremonies is the use of an oathing stone. This particular tradition is great for couples who are outdoorsy and might do a lot of hiking and camping, and are out where there are rocks in their lives. So in an oathing stone, it comes from the belief that stones would hold on to the written word, the spoken words that were
written in stone.
That's right. So
literally written in stone.
Set your promises in stone.
Okay.
That phrase comes from the belief that stones would hold on to pledges that were made near them.
Maybe because they were also things written on stone tablets years
that's
ago.
Smart too. There's so many things to this. So when a couple wants to include an oathing stone in their ceremony, normally they choose a stone that comes from a place that has significance
Meaning to them, right.
Whether it's their childhood home, where they first met, where they decided to become a married couple, and they bring a stone from there, and when it's time for them to say their vows, they hold on to that stone and they set their vows into that stone. Then that oathing stone becomes a keepsake for them. They could keep that on their mantle or put it in their garden.
So choose your stone wisely. Make sure it's a pretty stone.
And make sure it's not too big either, because if the vows are long and you're holding
it's a good arm workout.
There's another tradition that I came to love this past summer. I had a Sri Lankan bride, and so we included some of the traditions from her family in the ceremony. And one of those, it was so beautiful, it's when the couple has their pinkies tied together with a thin piece of gold thread. And then an elder will pour water over it to kind of purify it.
So pretty.
Yeah, and I loved it because it's gold, so it's precious.
Yeah.
It's a thin piece of thread, and it's also their pinkies. And it's as a reminder that a bond of love, if you want to keep it, you need to be intentional and care for it. Just like if you want to keep your pinkies together with someone, you have to be paying attention to that. So there was that part of it that I thought was so beautiful.
Yeah. And I love that it's a thin gold
Yeah.
piece of string that can break easily, like anything. So
Yeah,
you do
you
have
have
to
to
be
care for
precious
it.
and intentional with
Yeah.
your loved ones.
Yeah. And it was
Beautiful.
their promise to each other that they would treat their bond like that.
I love that. And I know you have one special tradition that you've sort of incorporated into your ceremonies.
Yes,
Please
I
tell
love
us.
it. I created 7 steps into the sunset, and it was inspired by the Jewish and the Christian tradition of giving 7 blessings in a ceremony. And it was also inspired by the Indian tradition of walking around a fire 7 times as a couple. And each time you go around the fire, it's like you've accomplished something together, right? So I like the motion of that. So in 7 steps into the sunset, you're pronounced married, there's an amazing kiss, and then we turn to your guests and say, before we conclude, you know, as they're about to head out on this journey together, we would like to wish them these following things. And a couple will choose 7 different people to each issue 1 blessing for them.
Of their choosing?
Yeah, I have a collection of modern blessings that a couple can look through for inspiration. So they'll choose 7 people to each impart 1 blessing on the couple, and the couple will then take 1 step back down the aisle for every blessing that's read for them. So as they take that step, it's like that they're receiving that blessing is going to come after their 7th step, 7th blessing, 7th confetti.
Tossing.
1 more amazing kiss, but this time the couple, instead of being up front,
Yeah.
they're surrounded by their family and friends. They're about halfway back down the aisle.
Yeah.
And it's an amazing second kiss. And I love it when they do that.
Beautiful.
Yeah.
Wow. I mean, it's fun because you can bring in things from all of the different traditions that you've learned about. That's beautiful.
Yeah.
Well, thank you so much for sharing with our
It
audience.
was so
these-
great to be here again.
I'm
Thank
so
you.
glad to have you. But yeah, if you want to learn more about Alisa, I will put her information below this video. And again, bring something fun, something new, something novel to your wedding because it's something your guests will never forget and you will cherish forever. Thank you for watching. If you want to see more videos, please log on to www.notesfromthelightbox.com and there you can subscribe and send us your burning questions. I look forward to hearing from you. Thank you and thank you.
Thank you. It was my pleasure.